And as you can see from our news releases here over the last 2 months, like you were saying, I mean, just a slew of partnerships. I mean, because everyone's realizing, right, this is the future. We have to come on board. We have to make this happen. So we've got some of the largest partnerships in the world.
And welcome to Betweenplays Stock Market Strategies. Today we have with us Mr. John Passalacqua of PHOS Phosphate. John, how you doing, man?
Great, Albert. Thank you.
John, it's you know what? It's been a little while, and you've done some incredible things since the last time you've been here. You know, look, I have to go through some of the stuff that you've done, and I had to write it down because you've done so many things that I think that the shareholders, because we have a lot of new people watching this and stuff like that, and we need for people to know what you've done since the last time you've been here. So I'm just going to go through them real quick so that way everybody that's, watching in the viewing world, they know exactly where we're at this very moment. So basically, you had commission's solventless, environmentally friendly phosphate concentration pilot plant. That is huge. Announces completion of share purchase agreement. This is like basically the management and the board like buying back a ton of shares, like 50% or something like that. This was massive as well. Then you have a renowned First Nations mining executive. He joins PHOS Phosphate's advisory board. This is Mr. Armand McKenzie. Then you have PHOS Phosphate. He enters into the MOU with Norfalco, a division of Glencore, to secure supply of sulfuric acid. Absolutely astonishing as well. Then you have the positive results of your preliminary economic assessment at your Lac Orignal property in Quebec, Canada. PHOS Phosphate reports up to 36.5% phosphate assay results on September 1st at the LaRouche property in Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean, Quebec, Canada. And you have your corporate updates that's done then. Now you have, on top of all that, you receive successful results for the pilot production of a merchant-grade phosphoric acid from its phosphoric concentrate. I mean, you're just working here. It just keeps on going. Now you have your CDR filing of your PEA of the Lac Orignal property on September 11th. And then you have your American Battery Factory sign an MOU to onshore up to 40,000 tons of annual LFP cathode active material production in North America. So then you say, oh, no, okay, well, that's just incredible. He's not going to be able to top this. No, what you do is you go and receive a letter of interest in the amount of US 170 million from the Export-Import Bank of the United States. It's insane. And then, of course, you appointed Mr. Jerome Klisch as Vice President, Business Development. But, today you're here because of something that was extremely interesting that we've seen out of Benchmark Minerals yesterday. They awarded a Mr. Stanley Whittingham, okay, with hold on a second. Let me just make sure I get this right. He was awarded the Benchmark's Lifetime Achievement Award. Now he's talking about lithium ion batteries. He's talking about LFP, phosphate, and, look, I think that it's best that you now take it on and say, like, look, how important was this from Benchmark and Mr. Stanley Whittingham? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this gentleman is one of the foremost experts in batteries, professor at some of the largest universities in the world, Nobel Prize, obviously. And they brought him into Benchmark to give him a Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations to Mr. Whittingham, and for that kind of work. More importantly, though, he's still very active in the space, and he came up with some really, really important words. Where he thinks that the North America should develop its own supply chain for lithium iron phosphate battery that can be make batteries at very economical levels. It's good, tried and true and tested technology. It's got good fire safety. It's lower in costs. You can charge and uncharge it. A lot of the electrification in China runs on LFP battery, and he says, look, we got everything in North America to do this. US should work very closely with Canada because the raw materials are up here, like the phosphates are up here. The igneous phosphates, the volcanic phosphates that PHOS Phosphate has access to. The lithium is here. The iron is here. And he says, why aren't we getting this going? Why aren't we not moving any faster here? So I really applaud, not only his professorship, but his intellectual capacity, but also his pragmatism. It's like, come on, let's get moving, right? Because that's what we've been saying for a long time. So it couldn't be a more aligned statement with the statements of First Phosphate, which is full North American lithium iron phosphate supply chain. We've been saying it for a while. Obviously, Professor Whittingham has been saying it as well, and it was nice to see him say it when he received his Lifetime Achievement Award in front of everybody. The world's almost, I would say, most prestigious battery conference, Benchmark Week 2023 in Los Angeles. So I think this is really important because it's validation, and it's something that the more people that come out and say this, and the more distinguished people that come out and say it, the more validation we get from governments and from investors to push forward and begin to invest to develop these projects such as First Phosphate. And as you can see from our news releases here over the last 2 months, like you were saying, I mean, just a slew of partnerships. I mean, because everyone's realizing, right, this is the future. We have to come on board. We have to make this happen. So we've got the some of the largest partnerships in companies with some partnerships with some of the largest companies in the world coming on board to make a First Phosphate project happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I really like about First Phosphate is that you're an actual full EV play company, and at the same time as that, what we have here in the Ignitions Rock. I mean, we've been through this in the past, but of course, naturally, I always like to bring up some stuff because there's always new viewers, and it's very important that they understand this. I mean, you have one of the cleanest, environmentally friendly like rocks in order to get it, because we've talked about that. Yeah, you can get it from other parts of the world, but man, holy, it's not the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, so the igneous rock is very special. It's only 5% of the world's phosphate, but igneous anorthosite in Quebec is only 1% of the world's phosphate. What's great about it is that it can be fully recycled when you take it and you make it into purified phosphoric acid. You can concentrate it to very high purity. We get it up to almost 41% phosphate, which is 97% apatite, its host mineral. And then when we pass it through the process to make purified phosphoric acid, 90% of that turns into purified phosphoric acid. And the byproduct, which is gypsum, has no radioactivity in it, and it can be fully recycled. Whereas gypsum is, a big problem in other parts of the world where fertilizer is made. And so this ultimate purity is exactly what you need for batteries. The environmentally friendliness of it is also very important. So you make a lot of clean, purified phosphoric acid for batteries, because I mean, there's no point in making a battery to decarbonize the world if the process of making that battery pollutes the world. So we're very careful with our footprints. So we got that here, and we got it in North America, and we got lots of it in Quebec. We got the ability to make purified phosphoric acid.
And that's another thing that's incredible. We're talking about full recycling type system. We're really working on that type of a system now. And at the same time, I mean, being located in Quebec, I mean, when you look at 2020 and where we are today, things are, yes, they're not moving fast enough, but surprisingly, how Quebec has just jumped on with billions and billions of dollars. And First Phosphate, located right in Quebec, it's crazy. Massive infrastructure, everything is there. I mean, First Phosphate, I mean, you are very well properly placed. And the town that you're in, I mean, they're extremely interested in getting this going.
Oh yeah, the Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean region of Quebec. I mean, it's got two industries. It's got aluminum, the old Alcan plants, which are now Rio Tinto, and it's got forestry. And boy, would it ever like to have a modern industry. I mean, the Chamber of Commerce there is all over this. They've been out to Sweden to see how, some battery valleys have established there. There's, entire committees. The Port of Saguenay is now, looking to be the next battery valley of Quebec. Bécancour is full, as you know, at Trois-Rivières. So now, Port Saguenay is going to be the next battery valley of Quebec. Quebec government's already put $105 million into retrofitting the ports for water, gas, and electricity. So yeah, it's all systems go, and I believe that First Phosphate is going to be at the center of that. I believe that Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean region of Quebec will become the LFP battery valley of North America, and I believe that First Phosphate will be the déclencheur of that movement.
Yeah, listen, the one thing I want to bring up before we before we let this go is that inside that article that I read, I mean, I'll touch up on it. We talked about sodium. I mean, some people were talking about sodium. Oh my God, sodium, it's going to be coming in, it's going to knock everything out. But there's a statement in there, half of the energy type thing, or he's saying it's going to be twice the weight. And And it's just not going to happen today. There's a lot more money that has to come into this. It's something that's going to be, well into the future. I mean, the lithium infrastructure is here. Lithium phosphate. This is where we're at now. This is where the money is being put in now. I mean, maybe in 30 years, who knows? We can't really make up a timeline, but this is where it's at. First Phosphate, came out of the bat swinging, and you guys have just not stopped. As a share, look, I have shares in the company. It's not something to hide and stuff like that. And I'm excited about this company. I'm excited about First Phosphate and the direction you're going. Thank you very much. And I don't know if you have any last things to say to any of the shareholders out there.
Yeah, no, so a couple last things. Thank you very much for that, Albert, and your support. I think, talking about all these different battery types, the one thing you have to look at LFP battery, it's been out there for almost 20 years. It's tried, it's true, it's proven. So don't always look for the new next best experimental thing. You have to look at what works. And LFP works pragmatically. It's going to be the battery of mass adoption here in North America as well. We're quite certain of it. Number two is, First Phosphate. Yeah, we've been doing a lot, but our pipeline is supercharged. We're just getting going here. I know there's a lot to the company. I know it's very complicated, but just to challenge investors and challenge viewers that you really have to look behind these companies. You have to fully understand it, and it does take a lot of work. Electrification is not simple. But, we've got a really extensive website. We put all of our information out on the website. It's very transparent. Even in information that would be competitive, we don't care because everything's moving so fast. We're going to be on to the next thing before anybody can catch up. So just come on to our website and, just read up and understand it, because I know that it's complex. We try to make it as easy as we can. Believe you me, me too. When we started almost 2 years ago, I'll be frank, I didn't know too much about electrification, but you pick it up, you learn it. There's a lot of intuition to it. Everybody can do it. Just get in there, read up, be educated, because there is a lot of hoopla. You really want to be educated when you get into this, when you get into investing, and when you get into buying a car or whatever it is that's electric. Make sure you do your homework, because it's a nascent industry, so there's going to be a lot of changes. You got to get on board with what's stable, what works, and what has the longest longevity.
Yeah, you know what? Thank you so much for being here today, John. And just keep up the good work, man, and hope to see you back on Betweenplays Stock Market Strategies.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Albert. Really appreciate all your support from your viewership.
No problem. All right. Thank you, John, and hope to see you soon. So everybody out there, always remember, research, prepare, plan, and execute, and see you next time.
Betweenplays. It's the journey.
Welcome to Betweenplays Stock Market Strategies, a division of Betweenplays Media Inc. Please assume that we have a contract with said company or own shares with said company in each one of our videos. Seek help of a professional financial analyst, and always remember to do your research, your due diligence. Have yourselves a great day and enjoy all the rest of our shows.
Educational and expert speakers, analysts, and consultants. Betweenplays, bridging the gap between companies and investors.